Welcome to another DorkLair collecting video. I really wanted to do a recorded, really planned out version of this video where I was gonna, have it really like edited and all that stuff like I usually do with my topic videos. But I'm running out of time because I think this video is something that needs to go up now. And I just don't have a lot of time to do editing. So I'm going to try to wing it. And I'm going to try to do this almost like I'm doing a live stream, but I'm recording it. So I got a screen share here. I'm going to bounce back and forth between the Canva setup here. So I'm going to try to figure out which 6 figures I think are either most likely, or it could end up more being just ones that I really want to see having version 2s in Mythic Legions, because we do have a new wave coming up. A lot of people are predicting that it will be a wave of version 2s. I don't know for sure, because it could just be an extension of the Poxus wave. We just got Poxus. We have a little bit of a tradition of the All Stars Plus videos being sort of like, extensions of waves. And without All Stars this year, this could just be the extension, where we had the extension wave for All Stars 5 Plus was the extension wave for the Alithia wave, and then you had the All Stars 6 that was the extension wave for the Necrodominus wave, right? So this could be an extension of the Poxus wave, right? Because the storyline has Basilia and all that. We don't know, but there are also some hints that suggest that it could be like fallen heroes or heroes who have returned or survived. So I think the prevailing prediction is that the fall of Ophidian wave will be a version 2's situation. So I have a Canva here where I can pop images in. I do think it'll be a smaller wave. This is a mid-year Mythic wave, which are, usually the All-Stars waves, and these are usually smaller waves. I don't think it's going to be a big, gigantic G-Con-esque 10 plus figure wave. I think it's going to be a smaller wave. So I'm going to say 6. So I'm going to look for 6 characters that I think could potentially have version 2s made. Now, we've obviously had some version 2s already, and we have some characters that had been held back, specifically because they didn't want to just reissue them. They had plans for them, right? So those kind of, I think, are going to be the top picks. I think also really popular ones are going to be potentially top picks as well. I actually think, like, for example, I think Adamon could be, like, I think they could eventually do a version 2 where you would have like battle armor version, right? But I don't think that's this. Like, I think that would be a PowerCon thing. That might be something next year for PowerCon, the return of PowerCon, and you got Keltis and Adamon back, and then you've got like, battle armor versions of them. So I'm not going to put Adamon on my list, though I think he is a potential for a V2. So I'm just going to kind of go through the list here, and I'm just going to kind of say yes or no. So I'm not going to put any mounts or anything like that, or the centaur. Some stuff is pretty recent. I think stuff from the Arethyr wave, interestingly, could almost be that is a pre-pandemic wave, like, or at least the announcement of that wave was pre-pandemic. So that potentially could be characters, but not. I don't think Arethyr himself would be one of them. Archimedes, Arazak, Artemis, Silvercord already had a version 2. Asterion is definitely one I'm going to put in there. Okay, so I'm going to copy the image, and then I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to paste Asterion in there, see if it works. What's going on here? Oops. Copy that image and paste Asterion. So that's my first one. I think he has a very good chance of being in there. Pretty prominent character over here, Asterion. Okay, and then coming back over to this list. All right, so Asterion would be first. Attila already had a 2. Atlas had a 2. Azar and Zazar, technically, right, as a Hazar. As a Spirit Bender has some potential there. And with this being a sort of Poxus themed wave, right? It's a Basilia themed wave. She could potentially be in there. I'm gonna slide her in there, and when I eventually hit 6 and then I add more, I'll knock ones down or knock them out. So this will kind of be like an elimination challenge type thing. So let's get back over here. So we got Azza, Balam. I don't think so. I think it's a great, it's a fan favorite, but I don't think that it's a version 2 worthy kind of figure. Let's see here. Barbarian, Baron Volgar's already had one. Belphegor, cool character, but I don't think he's going to be up on a version 2. Let's see here. Black Knight, Blue Hagnon, Warrior, Bodvar. I'm probably going to. So here's a question: like, will non-unique character like Warrior is an army builder. It's not a legion builder. It's not one of the cheaper legion builders, but it is an army builder. So it's like, I wonder if some of the army builders could get version 2s. Not Warrior though. It's not going to be Warrior. Okay, we got Bodvar, Bog Goblin. Also would be an army builder type character, but again, I don't think so. Let's see here. Both are. He just had an All Stars. Let's see. Broder, Bromden. I think like Bromden's already almost too good. Like it's just too awesome of a figure already. Like it doesn't really need a version 2. The only thing would be like just getting it back into circulation, right? Brontis, Bronzdorf, Brother Mandibulus is an interesting one. Another one kind of like Bromden. I feel like it's just already kind of like, what are you gonna do to make it better? Like maybe, but I'm gonna leave it off. Let's see, Kador, probably not. Calavius, Carpathius. That's an interesting one. Carpathius. I'm going to put Carpathius on there. I feel like Carpathius could be eligible for that. So let me copy that one. Carpathius. Probably like Azza. Carpathius probably won't make it to the top when I get through all of these hundreds of figures here. But let's continue going through. So we had Carpathius, Cassia, Cavern Dwarf. There is something to be said about like some of these characters that don't have full face head sculpts. Does Cassia have one? I don't think she does. Like giving a character that has never had a head a head. Let's see. Calavian just got an All Stars. The birds I'm not even going to touch. Not Cowros because again, Motu stuff. Decebulus, no. Delphina, interesting. Delphina, potentially. But I feel like we might be almost played out a little bit on the concept of the Templar, so I'm going to skip that. Deltagar is a special case. I don't think they're ever going to do a version 2 that was based on a real person. This whole line is Legion builders. Builder. Future figure already. Motu. Let's see here. Dubon's pretty new. Skipping through there. Elf Ranger. Faunus. Was Faunus part of the... I'm trying to remember if Faunus was part of the remakes. So they did the mystery boxes and they did remakes. I don't think Faunus was, but I'm gonna actually, yeah, I'm gonna take Faunus and I'm gonna put him on there again. I think this one won't last, but so let me pop him in. So this is what it looks like so far. Asterion, Azza, Carpathius, Faunus. A lot of these are going to be bumped out, I'm pretty sure. So, all right. And I apologize if this isn't a finely tuned video. I just wanted to make it so it's like kind of like a live stream almost, but I'm recording it. All right, so next up we have Fastia, who I think is awesome. I think is underrated. I think a lot of people kind of actively dislike Fastia, but I actually think Fastia is great. I don't think Fastia would get a version 2. Freya, though, on the other hand, has potential. She's like the leader of a specific kind of like group. She's a leader of the I presume the Valkyries. It describes her as an army of unstoppable warriors. She's commands an army of unstoppable warriors there. And then we have a Viking theme coming in with the Rising Suns wave. So she has potential. I'm going to put her in so I don't forget. So let's go back over here. and pencil her in. You can see we're already at 5. Like some of these are going to be bounced pretty quickly. So Gadriel has potential, but this is kind of like Bromden, where it's like, what could you do? Like this figure's already so perfect that I don't really know that like upgrades are really gonna be that high demand. Unless they have a very, like, maybe there's a very specific story situation that would actually like completely change her look or something like that. But I'm gonna leave her off. Let's see. Gorgo already had one. We got a bunch of builders here. Gonks is a unique character, but I don't really, not interesting enough, in my opinion. Gorgo, this is, in my opinion, one of the best. Like this Gorgo Etherblade 2 in like that 2-pack with Attila, it's like one of the best things out there right now. Grisha the Slitherer. Like that one's interesting. Again, with the Sons of the Red Star, like if this is sort of like a combo of like version 2s and an extension wave of the Sons of the Rising Suns wave, a different Grisha, like a potentially. But again, I don't think so. I'm gonna leave that off. Gwendolyn is a possibility, so I'm definitely gonna put Gwendolyn on there. Her family has a major part to play, so I'm gonna put Gwendolyn over here. And so we have 6 now. Anyone I put in here, I'm going to bounce out. So I'm probably going to say I'm going to say Azza might be the next one to go. So the next one I do is probably going to bounce her out of there. Okay, Hadriana. Again, I do think there's the possibility that Aether Wave figures could get version 2s, but I'm not sure Hadriana is the one. Let's see here. Hagnon, Half Giant, Halmir. Halmir is a possibility, right? Halmir is a possibility. But I feel like if we get a dwarf, it's probably going to be Valgard. That way, that's perfect eligibility for a version 2 because it keeps the exclusive version exclusive. And then, so I'm going to leave Halmir. Eventually we're going to get to Valgard, and I'm going to put him in where I would potentially want a dwarf in this list. But Halmir is, a potential. Hera Serpentspire is definitely one that could be in there. The question is, why don't I copy this? The question is, would she bump out one of these others? I think she could potentially bump out as a Spirit Bender. Or they're almost like interchangeable in terms of, for me, like Advent of Decay wave figures. You know what? I'm going to leave Hera out because I feel like she's one of those ones where she's already so good that they might not need a version 2 of her. A lot of this comes down to me just wanting to see what they would do. Juno the Crusher, again, Advent. I'm wondering if they would even, so yeah, with like Juno on that Neve body, a new Juno. They'd have to have a good story reason. I'm gonna leave her off for now. Joran Rune Shaper is a possibility. Joran Rune Shaper, definite potential there. Would he bump anyone else off? Let me copy that. Joran versus any of these? I don't think so. I feel like all these would beat him out. So get back over here. All right, Joran Runeshaper, Kalazir, Keltis, Noglin, Kurzog. I don't think we'd see Noglin again. Bromden effect, just already so good. Seeing so again, back to the builders, a version 2, and I guess would it be a Knight version 2 if they took the Valiant Knight and totally like built it out to like a crazy kit with tons of stuff, maybe even some cloth good parts, like swappable parts and stuff, like a Knight 2, like it would be totally different. It wouldn't really be version 2 of this knight. It would just be this brand new knight builder. It would be like the third or fourth or whatever knight builder kind of thing. So I'm going to leave that off because it just doesn't feel like it's in line, but I could totally see that being a part of the wave though. Okay, Knight Builder, Knight Weapons, Noobnik, my favorite goblin, but not going to get a version 2. Krotos, Lady Averona, Krona, Lige, Lord Adon, Bardric. Let's see here. Lord Viteris, which I just recently picked up. Thank you to Jacob Forna for that trade. And then we've got Lucretia. Again, I don't really know that Lucretia is going to bounce any of these out, though it wouldn't surprise me if she got one. Okay, Lucretia. Magnus. So this is one that Magnus is one I could see getting a version 2, even though he's a relatively newer character, just because of how popular he has become. Like they could write him into the story and make him more important. But I think there's going to be bigger fish to fry than that. Malleus is definitely a potential. The problem is they did a reissue of Malleus, and he's not that hard to find. So I kind of feel like they may not go there because again, there's heavier hitters in terms of like demand that people want. So Melina, Manisha, Maxilius, Mephitor, Morgulith, Myria. Again, these Advent of Decay figures, it's like they're already so kind of fully fleshed out that I'm wondering if they would ever really get version 2s. So it's like pick your poison when we're looking at these other ones. So again, I'm going to leave it at those. Let's see. Neve, Ogres, Okitos, Orcs, Orange Steelhide. Orange Steelhide is interesting. What would they do with Orange Steelhide? Now, I don't think his look really meshes perfectly with the new dwarf parts. I could totally be wrong, but I feel like if they do a version 2 dwarf, it's probably going to have a lot of those new dwarf parts from the Rising Sun. So I'm going to kind of like say maybe Orin wouldn't mesh well with that stuff, so I'm going to leave him off. And here we have probably the biggest, highest demand one that people are hoping to see, and that is Otho. And I'm definitely going to put him on this list. So I got to bump somebody out. At this point, I think I'm going to bump out Azza for Otho. I feel like Asterion and Otho are the two high probability ones on this list still. And so let's keep going here. But Otho it's one of those figures that the character actually is pretty important to the storyline. And then he's also got a mystique about him because they made so few because he wasn't ordered in high quantities. People just kind of saw another knight. You know, it's just like a basic knight, but it's the head sculpt is super unique. It's very specific, and that's what makes it super rare. So coming back to this, kind of like the same way they came back to Atlas, and then I just think it makes a lot of sense. They've been keeping him off the All-Stars voting lists for many years now, so I think Otho is going to potentially be a version 2. If this wave is version 2, I think Otho is going to be in. Let's see, we got Pelvicus Praetorian, some horses, some birds, Pixis. Pixis is awesome, but again, I don't think they're going to do it. Let's see, Purplor, Queen Urxa. Queen Urxa has a cool story. I'm actually going to I'm going to bump someone out for her. Queen Urxa is like, I actually was kind of convinced Queen Urxa was going to make an appearance in the Rising Suns wave because they have this story where like she is anti-Arethyr, like she's kind of going against Arethyr. So I almost feel like her storyline is ripe for a continuation. Like she's leading a sub faction of orcs, and it sounds like they're gonna like leave. And you had one of her followers or whatever, Tharnog, I believe, was part of her sub faction. And it's almost like Urxa's ready to go to the good guys. And I thought for sure she was going to join the ragtag Sons of the Red, or not the Sons, the Noble Bear. Okay. All right, so we got her in there. And yeah, I'm putting her there where Freya was. All right, back over here. Urxa Ragna. That's interesting because I know that her sister appeared in, but that might have been the make. That might have been the make good like that. Her sister appears in the Rising Suns wave, and I know that Eric has been kind of disappointed in how Ragna turned out. I don't see it happening because the sister is just too close to what that is. Um, the sister being Dagna, I think. Rhaegor is one that I could totally see them doing again. I know it's a tribute. Um, Not only is it a visual tribute to Warduke, but it's also a tribute to a collector, Ray, who passed away in the early days of Legions. And but it's a huge fan favorite. It's kind of like Otho. Like it's one of those huge fan favorites. Good question. Is Rhaegor? Let me come back over here. Let me copy it. So I'm going to copy this image and come here and put him here. Rhaegor. I feel like it's tricky. Like, so here's my prediction for Rhaegor and why I'm not going to put him on this. I don't think this is the dragon. And I think when they do the dragon, they're going to include a pack-in of Rhaegor too. That's my prediction. So that's why I'm not going to put Rhaegor here. Red Shield Soldier, Rugarion, Samir, Scaphoid. I would love to see Scaphoid too. It's like a top fiver for me, but like I don't think it will happen. But like having a Scaphoid with updated new armor and and cloth goods torso and stuff would be sick. Shadow Elf, no. So these two were just they did a new a new run of these two. The Equidrons, I don't think so. They're awesome, but I don't see them doing any version 2s. We got some builders here, some newer figures, some newer knights. We got Gideon, who has his version 2. Sir Gerard, Sir Godfrey just had a reissue in the mystery boxes. Sir Ignatius is getting a reissue. Sir Owain, I don't think he's important enough to get a V2, but Valgard I think is one. So I'm going to copy that. I think Valgard is probably on a lot of people's list. The question is who gets bumped out here. I'm going to bump out Carpathius actually here for Valgard, I think, in terms of interesting characters to get remade. So here's a look at that. Now, so you get Valgard in there. And those top 3, I'm definitely feeling it with those 3. Now the question is, will this be like a 6-figure wave, a 4-figure wave? I would be super happy with just like a 4-figure wave, 4 deluxe version 2s, or even just like 4 deluxe figures would be awesome. Because sometimes getting a big wave in hand is almost overwhelming. Scapular got his. These are all builders. Snag version 2, although they just reissued some snags, so I don't think any of the ones that got reissued in the mystery boxes are gonna be eligible. I just don't think they would do that. Swig, we got some builders. Maybe the whole wave will be just different versions of Swigs, all the different Swigs from the 1000 Swigs. Thalen Frostbow, fan favorite, but again, I don't think so. Tharnog, Trapiculi, Thistlethorn is interesting. I feel like they're more likely to do that female Fuzzmonk first. Thord Ironjaw, that's definite possibility because he's pretty, like he's the brother of the king, right? And he's pretty like, I feel like he's pretty important, and he hasn't had a reissue. So would it be Thord or would it be Valgard is the question. I'm going to stick with Valgard for the dwarf. Thrace, Thump, Thwick, Tibius, had an all-star, so I'm going to say no. Let's see, Torion had an all-star, and we already have a Minotaur, so I'm going to say no. Urku or Urzok. So I think we're going to get Urku version 2, and it might be a brute scale to kind of go along with Tharnog. Or would it be Urzok? I think it would be. I think Urku's a little more important, so I'm gonna say Urku. But I'm gonna kind of be almost interchangeable with those, and kind of say almost like both of those. But who do I bump out? Right? Like, so this is where I think like, well, I'm gonna bump out the Orc, I guess. So I'm gonna put him there. So here's what we have over here. So yeah, I bumped out Queen Urxa. And then where else do we go here? Urzok, Uwit, Valiant Knight, Valak, Vampire Knight, Phalanx, Tharnog, Vorgus, Vetus, Zarya, Xenothon, Zendi, Zazar, Xylona. I'm not putting any of like the great ones or the great beasts or whatever on there. So is this my prediction right here? I think I'm down to the end of the list, and I think this is what I'm going with right here. These 6. And again, I don't know that they would do 6. Maybe it'll be a wave of like 4 version 2 main character types, and then a potential like 2 more like maybe like deluxe builders or something, as in like version 2 builders of like the knight and something else possibly. I definitely think a big deluxe knight would be perfect for this wave. Okay, so there you have it. This is the 6. I don't know that it's going to be a 6-figure wave. Like maybe it'll be like 4 version 2s of like main characters, and then like so maybe Asterion, Urku, Otho, and Valgard could be like the version 2s. And then maybe if it's 6 figures, maybe the other 2 are like a deluxe knight and something else, version 2 deluxe knight type thing. And maybe, I would love to see a goblin too, and maybe some new parts on a goblin, like a deluxe goblin or something, or some other, something else that hasn't had a full deluxe. I know there's been a deluxe Legion Builder goblin, but I'm talking about the same kind of deluxe builder set, like the Barbarian or the Knight Builder sets, like those, but with like a goblin would be really cool. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. These are my 6 predictions. What are your predictions? What did I miss? Tell me what I missed. Who did I leave off this list that should really be on here, and who would you bump out? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, may the Force be with you.